Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Christine with Patter Crafts, and today I'm here to make 4 cards using the Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month card kit for the month of January. The theme for January is Perk Up and Start the New Year. So here's collection 1 kind of laid out, and I'm going to be using sketch number 2. Each month, Scrapping for Less puts a sketch sheet for some inspiration onto their website. So you can just go to the scrappingforless.com website and there's a little downloads tab and you can find that there. So my first card, I wanted to use the ephemera. I thought that love ephemera piece, like when I saw the sketch, I immediately thought of that. I thought it was a great way also to showcase some of this really great paper. So I cut down a main panel with all the different coffee cups, and then I'm using some of these fun patterns and I'm just cutting 1/4 inch strips. That middle piece with the polka dots is about 2 inches and I'm just kind of layering them. I did cut the height, but I'm going to just cut the length with a pair of scissors. I find for me that works best. So now that there's it there, I'm just going to grab my scissors and take off the excess there. Add that to my card base, and then I'm going to adhere my ephemera pieces with some foam tape. So here's the love, and I wanted to add this coffee and donuts. I thought it was super cute. I did need to add a little bit of foam tape just to make it pop up a little bit above that love. But there we have card 1. Card number 2 includes a Newton's Nook stamp set. How cute is he? This is collection 2, and we are using sketch number 4 for this design. I wanted to use sketch number 4 because in the design there is like a rectangle shaped element to it, but instead of patterned paper, I'm going to use Newton. So I'm using a variety of different pattern papers from this collection. So I'm going to be cutting those down and die cutting them with some stitched dies. My craft area has shrunk temporarily as I'm preparing for a move. So usually I don't show the die cutting part in my video, but you will see it here. So I have my main panel cut down with a rectangle stitch die. That particular one is from Simon Says Stamp, but any die is fine. And if you don't want the stitching or if you don't have any dies, you can certainly just use your paper cutter. I wanted to match the stitched lines that are around that rectangle piece. So for my half circular pieces here, I am just running them through that stitched edge part again. I don't have stitched circle dies. So I just wanted to add the little stitching to match. So I have my panel pretty much ready to go. So now we're going to stamp out the image and color in Newton using some Memento Tuxedo black ink. It is a Copic friendly ink. And then I'm just grabbing a variety of Copic markers to color Newton and the donut. Just laying down this super light, like tannish kind of color. My go-to for animals is mostly some sort of brown color. So you'll see a lot of that when I'm coloring in animals. I wanted his little paws and the inside of his ears to be that really light color, but I figured I would just do the whole area just to add a little bit of ink so that my blending will blend a little bit easier. So for the donut, I'm actually using some of the same colors and then using a little bit of a darker one. I am being kind of messy because I am going to fussy cut this image, so it doesn't matter on the edges there. At first I was thinking, like when I was coloring Newton, I was going to try to cut it with a white border, but when I got to the donut, I just decided, forget it, I can go outside of the lines. I'm just going to cut it right up to the stamped line. So I'm using some darker colors here for the little bit of sprinkles. This is some pretty easy basic coloring for me, and we're going to go ahead and just fussy cut him out. I don't really like to fussy cut, and I didn't think he was too hard to cut out, so I don't do a lot of fussy cutting, but he wasn't too bad. Then I'm just using a black marker to just go around the outside to kind of clean up those lines a little bit. Using the sentiment, Life is Better with Sprinkles. Running that through my Cuttlebug with this fishtail stitched banner die. I'm going to go ahead and add my image with some foam tape, and then add the sentiment also with foam tape and just kind of tuck it in a little bit. So here's card number 2. Here's collection 3, and we're going to be using sketch number, I think it's 1. And kind of going ahead and trying to find which pattern papers I want to use. These pattern papers to me are kind of bold. And they were kind of fun to use. There's some, it's not patterns I would generally use. Again, just using a stitched rectangle die. That is my absolute favorite die to use for card panels. I thought this red one would be great for the main background portion. And then I'm going to cut down this one here with the coffee cups. You saw me just using my bone folder to put like a little mark into the paper. I couldn't find a pencil. Bringing in that die again so that the stitch lines match the top and the bottom. Run that through my Cuttlebug. And then okay, so I'm going to finish cutting all my pattern paper. Wasn't sure if I was going to stamp the image yet or not. I'm sorry about the pause there. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this it's not so busy. I mean, it's busy, but it's not very busy compared to some of the other papers. And I thought that yellow would really pop against the red and the teal. I am using another small rectangle stitch die for that since it is small. It worked out perfect for this design. Going to stamp now our mini Marcy with coffee. She is super cute. Again, going to stamp her with some Memento Tuxedo black ink. And then I'm going to color her with some Copic markers. So the markers I chose, I tried to match a little bit to the paper. So just grabbing some E markers here for her skin tone. And then I'm using a variety of different yellows and a Y2, or not, sorry, not Y2, W2, like a warm gray 2 marker for her hair. So just flicking on some color, adding some of the darker colors where I think it's going to be a little bit darker. And the W2 marker, it just kind of adds a little bit of that warm gray to kind of tone down some of the yellows that I have in my collection to use for hair, for like the blondish hair. And I find that, you know, works really well. So coloring her with some pinks and some reds for her little blue pants. Just some basic coloring. I'm not really doing too much shadows. Going to go ahead and cut that with a circle die. And we'll go ahead and start putting this card all together. Adding a few of the sticker embellishments from the collection, and then I decide that this white circle is just, it needs something extra. So I took my black gel pen and I'm just adding some dash lines all around and added 2 of the coffee bean stickers. Moving on to card 4, collection 4. Here's collection 4 laid out. We're going to be using this sweet little greeting farm stamp. And I'm using sketch number 3. So here I'm kind of deciding, like, do I want to use some of those cut aparts? They're really cute, but I really want to use the stamp set. So I'm going to put those aside for a different card for a later date. And we're going to use this stamp set. So I first thought I would use the green, the Jelly Bean green cardstock, but it doesn't end up matching the paper that I want to use. Like, it blends too much into the paper. So I just decided to grab a different card base. I really loved that green paper. I just thought it was really pretty. And against the Jelly Bean green, it would be too close. And I wanted that green paper to kind of pop out from the card base. Using my stitched rectangle die again, we'll go ahead and die cut that out. And now I'm just kind of deciding what other pattern papers I want to use. I'm sorry I'm kind of so zoomed in on this particular video. My setup wasn't my usual setup, so it's just a little bit too close. I'll try to zoom out a little bit next time so you can see more of what I'm doing. I loved that little teapot paper, like the little soft one that I'm cutting right here. Oh, that was my favorite. So just cutting the different elements to kind of follow the sketch. For these first cards, sometimes I follow the sketches exactly, sometimes they're not exact. Sketches are a great way to just give some inspiration, and then as you put it together, sometimes you follow them and sometimes you don't. So go ahead and we're going to start adhering the different pattern papers here. And now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to grab our little Anya. We're going to stamp her down again with the Memento Tuxedo black ink, because again I'm going to be using Copic markers to color her. Going to give her some brown here, and you'll see like lots of different markers to come in, because as I color, I decide like the darker color is not as dark as I want it to be. So I just kind of keep coming in with darker colors until I'm happy with it. I'm trying to flick out from the areas I think are darker, but it's actually easier for me to kind of flick towards myself. So I kind of flip this paper all over, because in certain areas I just have a hard time like with the flicking motion. It's something I'm still practicing. These Greeting Farm stamps are great to practice hair, because, you know, as you can see, there's a lot of hair to color, so you can really get a good practice in. And again, I apologize that I go off screen. So once her hair is all done, I'm just going to kind of go in and add some skin tones. And at first I add this like to give her a little bit of blush, and then I wanted to have her look like her nose is a little pink from being outside. I was really afraid of how this was going to come out. Like in the end, it looks fine, but during the whole process of coloring her, and this is sped up 8 times, I'm just like working those colors, and I was so nervous. Like, is this going to come out or not? But in the end, yes, to me, I like the way it came out. It worked out fine. So just going ahead and coloring her in with some purples and some pinks, some of my favorite colors. And I am going to fussy cut her. And then again, I'm going to bring in a black marker, and we're going to go around the whole edge just to kind of clean up and just make it, you know, because sometimes I cut around the stamped line too close or too far, and this just kind of hides all those little imperfections. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment on that little pink part. She's being a little sassy here. You can brew it. So I thought she was super adorable. I'm going to go ahead and add a little white gel to her eyes, and that's it for card number 4. So here are all the cards. Now this is where like my camera died, so I'm using my phone camera to just kind of do this last little bit here. So sorry if it's a little shaky, but these are all 4 cards I made using the January Flavor of the Month card kit. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more and you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, everyone, bye.